Last night on the Nation Sports Show, Ezra and Joey gave their thoughts on the NFL's regular season finale in Week 18. They also gave their analysis for the college football championship game in Houston between Michigan and Washington, and they also gave their score predictions for the first round of the NFL playoffs, Super Wildcard weekend. Due to internet outages last night, I was not on the show, but tonight, for the first time on a Nation Sports Show, you get 2 live shows in 1 week. That's right, tonight, I am live at 5. Are you ready for some more sports coverage? It's 5 o'clock somewhere, because it's showtime.
Good up to the court, talking all that is sport, breaking down the latest news, scores, and more. Welcome to our Nation Sports Show.
Oh, yes. For the first time, ladies and gentlemen, the sports show is live at 5. Welcome to another edition of our Nation Sports Show on this special week for the world of sports because, ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, in case you have been living underneath a rock, the NFL playoffs begin this Saturday with the first round Super Wildcard weekend. What is going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me this evening here live at 5 for a special edition of our Nation Sports Show. I am your host for this evening, Stephen Wyand. And before I get to all of the happenings in the world of sports, we got to pay the bills, figuratively. Anyways, you can follow the sports show on Twitter at @ON_sports show. Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show, and where I am live right now at 5 on YouTube.com/Our Nation Sports Show. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and follow all of our social media platforms individually on Twitter and Facebook and all of that good stuff. And man, oh man, what a action-packed week of sports it's been. And last night I could not be on the show because there was a internet outage in our area due to the storm that was hitting the East Coast and the Midwest and the Northeast. And man, it seems like a lot of areas yesterday got hit by this storm, and everybody out there here in the Carolinas, in Florida, that got hit by those dangerous tornadoes, and everybody in Chicago and Missouri and, everywhere in between, Pennsylvania, anywhere in between that I may be forgetting. But anybody that's been impacted by the snowstorms and the tornadoes and the damaging winds and all that stuff, hope everybody is staying safe out there and take care of yourselves and be safe out there. And ladies and gentlemen, last night Ezra and Joey, I got a chance to watch last night's show, earlier today. And Ezra and Joey did a great job. And thank you, Ezra and Joey, for holding down the fort last night, and for William Gyron being in the chat last night and giving his score predictions for the playoffs happening this weekend. And Ezra and Joey, thank you guys for doing such a great job last night and covering for me last night, because, man, I was about to go live last night and the internet just said, screw you, I quit. And it just cut off for me and I could not be on the show. And anyways, I am live here today, and I will be giving my analysis on Week 18, the final week in the NFL season, as giving my score predictions for the wild card weekend this weekend in the NFL playoffs starting this Saturday. And also, I have Kevin's scores for this weekend's playoffs. And before I get to all of the happenings in the NFL, which is going to be a lot of today's show, I do want to talk about the NBA first. And John Morant, as you all know, sustained a shoulder injury that led to him having surgery, and season-ending surgery, that is, and he is out for the foreseeable future for the Memphis Grizzlies. And going into these, before he returned, the Grizzlies were 7-20, and when Morant came back, he was 6-3 with the Grizzlies starting. And now that he is out of the starting lineup for the rest of the season, it's going to be a tough road for the Grizzlies. Making it out of the postseason, or making it even into the postseason, excuse me, because the Grizzlies are going to be a struggling bunch, I think this year, because it's just that's a tough, asking, for any team in the NBA or in sports in general is, you gotta, come together and rally around your brother, and, you got to be there for him, and they're going to corral around their guy. And maybe the Grizzlies can make a run. Who knows? But we shall see. And Morant, like I said, is out. And like the boys said last night, he is out for the rest of the season with a season-ending shoulder surgery. And also news came down in the NBA that, yes, Chris Paul once again, Anthony Davis, you are lucky, pal, that you are not on the injury list right now. For now, you toy, T-O-Y toy. Chris Paul is out with a hand injury. He is out for 4 to 6 weeks with a hand injury. Nobody wants to hold his hand right now because it is injured, and he's going to be out for a long time. I cannot believe I just threw a Beatles reference up there for y'all, but I just did. I don't care, because Chris Paul's track record in the NBA of staying healthy is not good. It is not good at all. And he got in, as we all know, about 5-6 years ago in the Rockets-Warriors series, he got injuring that hamstring, and he was out for Game 6, and he came back for Game 7. But he was out, and so we shall see how the Warriors are going to do without Chris Paul. And so Paul will be out for about 4 to 6 weeks, and we'll see how Golden State will do. And also, as well, I want to talk about the national championship game that happened on Monday between Michigan and Washington. And Michigan, listen, they came to play at NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas, against the Washington Huskies. And Washington did not stand a chance in this game. And the Wolverines were swarming all over the field. And just, my goodness. I mean, just the Washington's offense cannot get it going. Like, you got to be able to, when you got a quarterback, when you got a quarterback as, good as Washington's quarterback is, it's like Ryan Leaf said on Twitter the other day during the game. He got happy feet. He was getting pressured, and he was dancing in the pocket trying to make something out of nothing. Look, man, like, you can't be panicking like that. You got to stare that defense in the eye, and let them know, hey, I'm here to play. And, and just, they cannot get nothing going, and credit to Jim Harbaugh and Michigan for putting up a hell of a game plan on Monday. And Washington had a great run. They were one of the undefeated teams besides Michigan. And unfortunately, 2 undefeated teams cannot be champions. There's only one champion, and that one champion is the Michigan Wolverines. They won the title on Monday, 34-13, I believe the score was. Yes, I believe it was 34-13. And Washington just did not have a good performance in this game. So yeah, not a good performance by Washington. I think the moment was too big for them. I think they got, kind of scared, at the moment it was too big for them. But credit to Harbaugh. He got the kids ready to play. And Michigan, as we all know, was surrounded by controversy in the season with the signs, stealing scandal. Not surprised. because this always seems to happen in collegiate sports, and no matter if it's basketball or football or you name it, it happens. A lot of the times in these college sports. I mean, come on. And so yeah, Washington just did not play a good game. And give credit to Michigan for putting up a hell of a game plan. And Michael Penix did not play a good game at all. I mean, interceptions and turning the ball over, and you cannot win the game, especially when a championship, when you're turning the ball over like that. So again, congratulations to Michigan for winning the championship. What is going on, William? How you doing, sir? Thank you so much for being in the chat last night during the show and giving your score predictions for the playoffs happening this weekend. And yeah, it was a really, really interesting game on Monday because Michigan just took it to Washington pretty much from quarter to quarter. And Michigan did not relent. They kept the pressure on. And Michael Penix in Washington just could not get the ball rolling. I mean, anytime that defense was swarming, he was just getting scared in the pocket, and Jim Harbaugh and his team had a great game plan and kept the ball rolling, and they didn't stop, being aggressive, and that's why they're the champions. And I believe it's tomorrow. Michigan will be having their parade. And Harbaugh said something very interesting at the end of the game. He said that they were asking him, "Oh, so are you going to move to the NFL?" And he's like, "Come on, man, really? Can I actually just enjoy, winning a championship, for once?" And Harbaugh, has every right to feel like that because, I mean, come on, you just beat a team as good as Washington was. Washington was dominated and 34-13, and Michigan, played a great game. Let the dude celebrate and feel good about the moment that he just, accomplished, with this team, because Michigan hasn't won a college football championship since '97. Come on. I mean, like Harbaugh said in the press conference, he said, all you guys are worried about is worried about the present. You're worried about what's happening right now. Come on. Let Harbaugh and his kids celebrate. Come on. Because Michigan Wolverine fans have been long awaiting a championship title for their collegiate school, and they got it done. So the big question is, will Jim Harbaugh be back with Michigan next year? Who the hell knows? All I know and all we know on this show is we will be breaking that story down whenever the news item comes out. And again, congratulations to Michigan for winning the championship on Monday against Washington, 34-13. They are your 2023 college football champions. And Michigan, whether we like it or not, they got it done. They didn't cheat to win the title. You can't say they did, because they didn't. And that's a fact. It's a fact of life, folks. And that's a good question, William. I mean, are they going to keep the title? I don't know. So honestly, it would not surprise me if Michigan's title gets taken away, because as we all know, in 92 and 93, the Michigan Wolverines basketball team cheated, or had a scandal. And, it was they had some illegal actions. And shout outs to my buddy Bo. When you watch this, buddy, that reference was for you, pal. And just doing things they shouldn't be doing. And Chris Webber was caught up in that controversy with illegal money and stuff like that, and all that type of stuff. So obviously Michigan's conference titles were taken away, and the victories and the Final Four and all their tournament victories were taken away. So that's an excellent question, William. So honestly, to answer your question, I think that they are going to take away the title, because they've been known to do that, collegiately. Now, in the professionally, in the pros, that's never happened. I mean, the only thing that has been taken away, to my knowledge, in sports as far as titles is athletes by themselves, not team titles in the pros, and all that type of stuff. So across the full, North American sports, I don't think that any title professionally has been taken away. But obviously, as we all know, in the world of college and football and basketball, you name it, sign stealing scandals and all that type of stuff, titles have been taken away. Or illegal actions, illegal activities that teams and coaches and coordinators and stuff and staff people that work, with these, with so many teams that have been caught doing things wrong, their titles and banners have been taken away. So we shall see going forward. And that's some of the little tidbits I wanted to talk about. And moving on to the National Football League. And before I get to Week 18, I do want to talk about Black Monday. And there were some noticeable firings that happened in the world of the NFL on Black Monday. No surprise. Get these two out of the way. Arthur Smith from Atlanta is gone. He is fired. He is fired, as well as Ron Rivera. The farewell, the farewell Titanic himself, Riverboat Ron, is gone from the Commanders. And the one that kind of surprised me the most was the fact that Mike Vrabel, the head coach of the Titans, who led that team to several playoff appearances the last couple of years, and obviously was well known last year as the team that choked away the AFC South title against Jacksonville. And I know, and he's been fired as well. And I was totally caught off guard by that because, Mike Vrabel, he's had a pretty good run, with Tennessee. Now, I know Ryan Tannehill was not the answer, but Derrick Henry, the king, baby, the king. Derrick Henry had a hell of a game on Sunday, and I'll get to that when I go to the scores. But it was very surprising that Mike Vrabel was fired by Tennessee on Monday after they beat Jacksonville. And there was news that came down today that Antonio Pierce, the interim head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders, has been asked by Tennessee to request to interview him. And Tennessee, if he is the right guy for your job, take him, because he had a very better run, a much better run, than what's his face? Josh McDaniels. Good grief. How can I forget about that guy? Josh McDaniels is not a good coach. So, yeah. So, a much better record Antonio Pierce had for the Raiders, other than Josh McDaniels, who sucked. And Antonio Pierce has been requested by the Titans to take the job. And so that should be interesting. So quite interesting developments that could be happening in the NFL. And also news came down today that Pete Carroll is stepping down as the Seahawks head coach. And very, very surprised that he is stepping down. And he did not get fired anymore. He did not get fired. He's going to be on the advisory role for the team. And so that'll be interesting to see who the Seahawks will go with as their next head coach. And so let's see. And I agree with him. They did make a huge mistake. And Pete Carroll stepping down, like I said, as the Seahawks head coach. And now we get down to the nitty-gritty. And that is Week 18 in the National Football League. And running down the scores from this past weekend in the NFL. Wrapping up Week 18. Up first, you had the Steelers beating the Ravens in reigning Baltimore 17-10. And Mason Rudolph, I cannot believe this. He has led the Pittsburgh Steelers to 3 consecutive victories. Congratulations, Pittsburgh actually used common sense and started Rudolph. Because unlike Mitchell Trubisky and unlike Kenny Pickett, his record this year was better with Pittsburgh, although it's less games. 3-0 is Mason Rudolph's record with the Steelers, and Trubisky and Pickett 7-7. That is not going to get you into the playoffs, but you know who will? Mason Rudolph and the shining reindeer that he is. He saved their Christmas a couple weeks ago, and he saved their NFL season. And so congratulations, Mason Rudolph. You led the Steelers to their third consecutive victory. Congratulations. And moving down the schedule for Week 18 on Saturday, wrapping up the Saturday portion of the doubleheader, it was the Texans on the road in Indianapolis, beating the Colts 23-19, and this was a hell of a game. And C.J. Stroud on the Texans' first drive had uncorked a 75-yard touchdown pass to Nico Collins, and that was a hell of a pass, right on the button, right on the money, that went for the touchdown. And back and forth these two teams went throughout the game, and the one thing that just drove me nuts with this game is the fact that the Colts got away from the run. Come on, you got Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss running over this Texans defense. Are you kidding me? I mean, when you're rushing for over 200 yards, run the damn ball. Pound the rock. Because if you pound the rock, eventually it's going to crack. And the Colts during this game were running all over Houston, and not to mention Jonathan Taylor had a 49-yard touchdown in this game that was electrifying when the Texans were up 14-6, and they scored the touchdown. Jonathan Taylor did. They went for the 2-point conversion. They tied the game, and all the momentum seemed to be on Indianapolis' side. But this is how you know that head coaches can get in their own ways. And Shane Steichen, the former offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles last year, the coach of the Colts this season, he got in his own way. He thought, Gardner Minshew has had a very good year for the Colts because nobody predicted him to be leading Indianapolis to where they were at, and that's a chance at getting in the playoffs, because if you forget about it, the Colts and the Texans in this game, whoever won this game, they were going to be in the postseason, no questions asked. So it was pretty simple when you're in that type of scenario. Gardner Minshew did not have a great game. Did not have a great game. And he picked the wrong day to have a very mid game on Saturday night in Indianapolis in your home stadium in front of your fans. And C.J. Stroud and the Texans made enough plays. This game went back and forth, and the Texans took the lead. Actually, they exchanged field goals. Both teams did. And it was tied up 17-17, and Houston drove the ball down the field to score the touchdown. And they missed, and Fairbairn missed the extra point. And that right there opened the door for the Colts to come back and possibly win the game if they scored the touchdown and kicked the extra point through. Well, this is where the Colts got in their own way. They kicked the field goal, when they had the chance to they kick the field goal, when they got stuffed, and it just, that ensuing drive, I did not get it. I did not understand what was going on with the play calling by, the Colts. I mean, you're running the ball. You converted multiple 3rd and short, even a couple of 4th and shorts to keep the drive going. Why? Because you ran the ball down their throats. What happens on 4th and 1 the next go round? Gardner Minshew throws an incomplete pass to a guy who did not catch a single touchdown in the season. You go to your 3rd, 4th read to a guy that's never really caught a pass this season? Come on. You deserve to lose the game. I'm sorry, Colts. You had one job, and you blew it. And the Texans ended up winning the game. And the Texans won that game 23-17. And they won the game 23-17. And C.J. Stroud, in his first year in the NFL, led the Texans to the playoffs, as well as D'Amico Ryans, their head coach, the former San Francisco 49ers defensive coordinator. They both led this team when they were at the bottom of the barrel last year, a laughing stock in the NFL, and their draft selections with Anderson and Stroud respectively was a huge gamble, and it paid off because they won the draft last year, in my opinion. And by them getting two very high quality players in the draft, they capitalized on the opportunity, and they have punched their ticket to the playoffs. And that's a good point there, William. Maybe so who do you think will get Vrabel? Do you think that Seattle will get him, or do you think that that's an answer. I'm thinking maybe Seattle will get Vrabel. What do you think, William? Also moving down the schedule from week 18. You had the Bucks beating the Panthers 9-0. Yawn. The Saints absolutely crushed the Falcons' spirits in the Superdome 48-17. And Derek Carr, the last couple of weeks, has had a great couple of weeks, capping off the Saints season. And with the Bucks win against the Panthers, they clinched the NFC South division, the most mid-division in the NFL the last couple of years. You thought the NFC East was bad in 2020 and a laughing stock, as far as back and forth, who was going to win that unpredictable division. Well, my friends, the NFC South the last 3 years has been complete hot garbage. And congratulations to the Bucks for winning this crappy division. And that's what I'm thinking too, William. Yep, I agree with you. I think that Seattle will get Vrabel. I like that. I like that idea because Vrabel is a defensive-minded guy, and Pete Carroll knows what Seattle needs, and they need a guy, who knows defense and stuff like that, and he's a pretty solid, when he has the right players that call him plays. Because Seattle does have talent. They got Geno Smith and Walker and DK Metcalf and the veteran Tyler Lockett, who knows if he'll stay in the NFL afterwards. Maybe he'll come back to the Seahawks. And anyways, moving on down the schedule, and this is very historic possibly in a way, but it's not a great way for him to end his coaching career with the Patriots. But the Jets have ended their 15-game losing streak against the Patriots in snowy Foxborough, Massachusetts, 17-3, and Zach Wilson and the Jets, beat the Patriots, and Bailey Zappi could not get nothing going into this game. Of course he didn't, because the field conditions were so slick and it was very snowy up there in Foxborough. And if this more than likely is the end of Bill Belichick's run with the Patriots as their head coach, what a hell of a run. What a hell of a run. It's the end of an era in New England. 9 conference titles, 6 Super Bowls with the Patriots. And what a hell of a run that Belichick has had over his career with the Patriots, with the great Tom Brady. Yes, Randy, I know you cannot stand Tom Brady, but bite me. I don't care. Tom Brady is the GOAT. He is the GOAT. He is the best quarterback of all time. Fight me. I don't care. Still love you, buddy. But anyways, so it was and Belichick at the end of the press conference with the Patriots, it was classic Belichick, as always was, the way he would answer questions. He was like, "Oh, it wasn't a great performance. We didn't execute, and we didn't win the game." And then he asked him, "Oh, Bill, are you coming back next year? To the Patriots? Are you going to consider coming back next year?" Oh, and he said in classic Belichick fashion, he said the same thing he said. "Oh, we didn't execute. We didn't make the right plays. We didn't win the game." And Belichick was going to be meeting with Robert Kraft, and I would imagine, like Pete Carroll, this is not going to be a firing. I think that Belichick is just going to, he's going to step down, as Patriots coach rather than get fired, outright fired. I mean, I know New England was garbage this year. Not a good season. Their worst year in so many years because of Mac Jones not being a good quarterback. And I agree with you, William, that Mike Vrabel will not be out of work for a long time. And yes, Bill Belichick is a Hall of Fame coach. And moving on down the schedule from week 18, the final week. Hard to believe all of the 18 weeks are in the books. Up next, we had the Bengals beating the Browns 31-14. And Jake Browning had a great game, 3 touchdowns in this game, and obviously Cleveland was sitting their starters in this game because they had nothing to play for. So Mike Vrabel and I'm still thinking about him possibly going to Seattle. Anyways, so Cincinnati had a great performance in this game to cap off their season, finishing 9-8. Not the best result they wanted, but Cincinnati will take it because they finished over 500. And fun fact that the AFC North is the first division in the Super Bowl era where all 4 teams finished over 500. That is a crazy stat. And this is the first time this has happened in the NFL since 1935. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Put that in your stat sheets and come back to me if you didn't know that. Anyways, moving on. Green Bay, sorry, Ezra, no matter what, still owns Chicago. Jordan Love had a great game and had a great second half of the season as the Packers punched their ticket to the NFL playoffs as they beat Chicago 17-9 in Green Bay. And Green Bay was the final team in the NFC to punch their ticket into the playoff bracket. So congratulations to Green Bay for rallying around their quarterback. And I want to say something real quick too about Green Bay, because the media that was all over Jordan Love's ass at the start of the season, how can you sit there and say with a straight face that after 3-4 weeks, he's not having a great season? How can you sit there and say that with a straight face? You need at least 10 to 12 weeks to get a full analysis, a full breakdown on how a quarterback is doing. You can't sit there 2-3 weeks, 4 weeks into the season. Oh, so-and-so quarterback's having a really crappy year. Come on, give me a break. Give me a break. Jordan Love, this was his first full year with Green Bay, and I got to give it to him. I wasn't harping on the guy, first couple of weeks because I knew it was his first full year. I mean, come on. His first full year as a starting quarterback with the Packers after Aaron Rodgers left to go to the Jets. And Jordan Love, he surprised me, and he surprised pretty much all of us on this show. That he, that he made the playoffs with Green Bay in his first year. And Justin Fields, I mean, he did not have a good performance really in this game. And anytime Chicago got the ball rolling down the field and had a good drive going, the drive would just stall. They would either kick field goals or they were having to punt, when they're up towards midfield and stuff like that. So give credit to Green Bay's defense, for stepping up and making some big plays in this game. And Jordan Love, when he was needed to make a play, he made a play. He made critical throws in that fourth quarter when the game was still tight. And Jordan Love had a great fourth quarter, helping Green Bay recover from last year after missing the playoffs, and they were on that hot streak with Rodgers. And Green Bay, like I said, is the final team to punch their ticket in the NFC side of the playoff bracket as they own Chicago. Sorry, Ezra, 17-9. And Chicago finished the season at 7-10, and they own the number 1 overall pick for the 2024 NFL Draft. And good point there, William. Aaron Rodgers, who? Right? And exactly, William. It does take time to get in rhythm because you can't sit there after 3 weeks and say that a quarterback stinks. Come on. You got to give at least 10 to 12 weeks. Or if it's obviously noticeable, like the New York Jets with Zach Wilson at quarterback, even 4 or 5 weeks, you can't sit there and say, oh, they're horrible. Why? Because the offensive line led to Aaron Rodgers 4 plays getting injured, tearing his Achilles. And and Chicago needs to make some draft picks. And I would go with an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, but you got to start, with some, I would say an offensive lineman in the draft. That's where Chicago needs to start. Or if you want to go with offense, you need Marvin Harrison Jr. because that's a hell of a kid, hell of a talent. Obviously his father is the great Marvin Harrison who won a Super Bowl with the Colts in Super Bowl 40, oddly enough, against Chicago. Or 41, oddly enough, against Chicago. In the pouring rain in Miami. And So if they want to go offense and strictly offense and get a hell of a talent at receiver, you got to go with Marvin Harrison Jr. But if you want to go with the fundamentals of keeping a football team up and healthy, you got to go with an offensive lineman or a guard, whatever you choose. So moving on down the schedule, Detroit beat the Vikings 30-20, and Jared Goff had a couple of touchdowns in this game. How about Amon St. Brown with a 70-yard touchdown in this game? Hollywood Brown, a 70-yard touchdown. That rhymes. I was a poet, sure didn't know it. But anyways, Detroit had a really good game, and they had a great performance to cap off the 23 season, finishing the year at 12-5. Their most wins since the 1991 regular season, and that's the good news. The bad news is they lost Sam Laporta, the great rookie tight end that has been a key weapon to the Lions' offense attack, and he went out with a knee injury, and more than likely it's not looking good. He will be missing the playoffs, and that stinks for Detroit. And congratulations to Detroit, for making a hell of a run this year and, proving to the doubters that Detroit, if they had the right pieces in play on offense, defense, special teams, and a head coach and coordinators who know what they're doing, that you too can make a run. And Dan Campbell's a hell of a guy, a hell of a coach, and I'm so happy for him and his team that they are the NFC North champions. It's something new. It's something refreshing. And Detroit, had a great capper to the season. They beat Minnesota 30-20 in Detroit, and great win. Great win by Detroit. Moving on, Dallas absolutely embarrassed the Commanders 38-10. And at one point, Dallas was down 10-7. But as we all know, and even Joey has said it on this sports show numerous of times leading up to this game, I mean, come on, we all knew that Dallas was going to win this game. And even Bo said it when I've had conversations with Bo on the phone about the Commanders. I mean, we knew that even if the Cowboys sucked on the road this year and finished 4-6, we knew that they were going to that the Commanders are going to lose to the Cowboys. And Dak Prescott and the Cowboys recovered, and they scored 31 consecutive points in a row to beat the Commanders, like I said, 38-10. And Prescott had 4 touchdowns in this game. Tony Pollard had a touchdown in this game, and CeeDee Lamb once again, C&D ball, 13 receptions, a couple of touchdowns in this game. And it's crazy to say that after all of the Hall of Famers that have come and gone from the Cowboys, that CeeDee Lamb is the first Cowboys player to lead the team with the most catches in any NFL season. So congratulations to CeeDee Lamb for C&D ball, and shout out to our buddy Kevin, who we can't wait to have on the show here very soon, hopefully next week. I hope you're doing good, buddy. That is still the greatest thing that Kevin has said on this show a couple years ago when CeeDee Lamb was having trouble with C&D ball. And that will never get old. When he said that on the show a couple years ago. And the Cowboys, you got it done. Congratulations, Cowboys. You are the 2nd seed in the NFC playoff bracket. You have home field advantage until you meet San Francisco. Because if you do make it to the NFC Championship game for the first time in 28 years, you got to go to San Francisco if San Francisco wins in the divisional round. Just saying. Just saying. Bang, bang, not a gang. Anyways, Prescott and the Cowboys, like I said, are NFC East Division champions. And congratulations to them. I hope that you go down, not in a blaze of glory, but I hope you go down in a fire, as you burn your chances away once again, Cowboys. And yeah, William, that was a bad timing for Laporta to get injured. And moving on down the schedule, Seattle, by the skin of their teeth, beat the Cardinals 21-20 as Geno Smith hooked up with Tyler Lockett on a go-ahead 34-yard touchdown to go up 21-20. And Kyler Murray in Arizona was driving down the field, and Matt Prater got in the field goal range, or Murray got him in the field goal range. And Prater, he's pretty much automatic, from 50-plus yards. But he didn't get it done. It went wide right. And the Seahawks held on to beat the Cardinals 21-20, and Seattle finished the season at 9-8. 9-8. And moving on down the schedule, and this is one of the games. Oh, excuse me, I'll get this one out of the way first. Or a couple of them out of the way. Get these three out of the way. Up first, up quick. Rams beat the Niners 21-20. Not surprised that the Rams won this game in a way because San Francisco was sitting their starters. So congratulations to the Rams for winning this game, and they are the 6th seed in the playoffs for the NFC. The Raiders beat the Broncos 27-14, and my goodness, Sean Payton, I still can't believe that you did this to Russell Wilson. He was 6-3 until you benched him, and I still can't get over that. How Payton said, if you don't restructure your contract, we're going to bench your ass. Are you kidding me? He was your best quarterback. And I know that the deal that he signed with Denver a season ago, is not a good contract. It was a hideous deal. And in year one, when Nathaniel Hackett, as their coach, he bombed. Was not good. But it's like I said, you got to give teams with coaches a chance to get in rhythm. Now, at first, Denver was 1-5. But Denver got off to a hot start. Again, they got it going, and they got hot. And at one point, they were over 500. Thanks to Russell Wilson, partly. He was playing like the old Russell Wilson of the Seattle days. And I still can't get over that. And I don't understand why Sean Payton is doing this. More than likely, it's not going to be surprising by the start of the offseason after Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas that Russell Wilson is gone from Denver. And moving on, the Chiefs beat the Chargers 13-12. Oh my God. That's a hideous score. It's just as much as hideous the Chiefs offense pretty much this year. Yikes. Anyways, and this is where I got a lot to say. I got something to say about this one. Yikes. Kevin was the one that predicted this one, and he got it right. He picked the Giants to beat the Eagles outright, and they did. My goodness gracious. The Giants dominated Philadelphia in this game. 27-10. I mean, Philadelphia going into the half were down 24-0. I mean, it was hideous the way Philadelphia was playing. The offense could not get nothing going. The defense was getting slaughtered yet again. And just a hideous performance by Philadelphia in this game against the Giants. And like a lot of us have said on this show, and like people in the media have said, if I'm Philadelphia, I'm not worried about the division. At this point, you can't worry about the division because Dallas, by this point, won the division against the Commanders 38-10, clinching the NFC East title. At this point, Philadelphia, you have to be worried about your football team because this is not the same football team that was 10-1. This is not the same football team that was scoring in bunches. This is not the same team that was going up and down the field on teams. This is not the same Jalen Hurts that was last year. Not the same Devontae Smith. Not the same A.J. Brown. Now, DeAndre Swift is a new running back, a new asset to their team, but he's basically like Miles Sanders. He hasn't been the same the last several weeks. Dallas Goedert hasn't been the same tight end, consistent security blanket like he was last year. This Philadelphia team they're done. They're pretty much done. I don't even have the words. Their last 6 games, they lost 5 out of their last 6 games. And you know what? And Kevin is absolutely right when he wrote in our Facebook chat. He said the Eagles' spirits and the team itself was broken by San Francisco when they beat the living hell out of Philadelphia in that highly touted match of the game of the season. San Francisco crushed them in that game. It was no contest. And the last 6 weeks, after that, pretty much, Philadelphia was cooked. They lost to Seattle. They lost to Arizona. They lost to the Giants. They lost to the Cowboys. Just, I could keep going on and on and on about Philadelphia. I mean, Philadelphia, they are, the way they played the last several weeks, they are going to be one and done if they don't get their shit together against Tampa Bay in round 1 on Monday night, this upcoming Monday. I mean, good God. It is amazing how one loss by a top football team to another top football team can crush your spirits. And that's what happened. San Francisco totally dominated. Totally dominated Philadelphia 42-19. 42-19. On December 3rd. I mean, it is just unbelievable how Philadelphia just did not play a great last 6-7 weeks. Even in the win on Christmas Day against the Giants. I mean, just Philadelphia is very suspect. They are frauds at this point. They are freaking frauds at this point because Jalen Hurts is just not playing with the same aggression and the same accuracy that he did last year. Where is the Jalen Hurts of last year that was throwing touchdowns and running touchdowns and being the dynamic player, the dynamic great player that he was last year? That Jalen Hurts is now gone. He is a fraud. He's a scammer. He should be questioned about, what's going on this year, because Philadelphia and this team, especially that defense, good God, that defense is horrible. It is horrendous. Horrendous. It is just unbelievable. Unreal. Unfreaking real. At this point, Philadelphia is going to go down on Monday night. It would not surprise me. And all of you guys, you, William, here in the chat, and Ezra and Jelly last night, picked Tampa Bay to beat Philadelphia in the wild card round on Monday. It is just unbelievable how the downfall of Philadelphia, it's happening. It is just unbelievable. Unfreaking real. So, again, here is the games. Here's the last 5 out of the last 6 games. As far as the scores. Like I said, you had San Francisco beating them 42-19. And their last win was obviously, who cares? You had obviously when Philadelphia beat the Jets, we knew that was coming. Oh, wait a minute. I got the wrong schedule. But anyways, we know the drill with Philadelphia. They lost all these games. They lost to Arizona. They lost to the Giants last week. They lost to the Cowboys. Lost to Seattle, especially in that hideous Monday night game. And anyways, Philadelphia, you suck. You're a dumpster fire. Go away. Thank you very much. Anyways, and lastly, but certainly not least, this is the game I have been waiting to talk about. The Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Before I move on to the Sunday night game, this is the one game I want to talk about. This is the game I want to talk about. Tennessee, Jacksonville. Jacksonville, you had one job. One freaking job. And you blew it. Trevor Lawrence, once again, not playing healthy. Not healthy at all. You roll him out there with an injured shoulder. And this offense could not get it going. Could not get it going. But anyway, Tennessee had nothing to play for. Nothing to play for. And just, they absolutely Tennessee took Jacksonville to the woodshed. They took them out back and beat the living hell out of them. It is just remarkable that Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, like I said, who had a hell of a game. When I said it's at the top of the hour, towards the top of the hour, Derrick Henry had 153 yards in this game, had a great performance, and more than likely, this is Derrick Henry's final game as a Tennessee Titan. As we all know, Derrick Henry will be a free agent going into the offseason. And William, I have a question for you, good sir, down there in the chat. What team do you think is going to sign the king, Derrick Henry, next for next year going into 2024? And Jacksonville, what is going on? You're 8-3. You had multiple chances. You had several weeks to punch your ticket as the AFC South champion, and you blew it. Every game you had chances and chances to win, and you blew it. The only other game that you won up until this point was a 26-0 win against the Panthers. That doesn't mean nothing. That means nothing. You lost to the Texans, a divisional rival. You lost to the Ravens on Sunday Night Football. You lost to the Bengals on Monday Night Football with Jake Browning, the backup starting quarterback for Cincinnati. You were heavily touted. Oh, they have a chance right now to be the AFC's one of the AFC's best teams in the conference. If you would have won that game against Cincinnati on Monday Night Football that they lost in overtime, you were going to be the number one fucking seed in the conference in the AFC. And you lost the game against the Bengals. And week after week, after you were touted to win these games, you blew it. The critics kept picking you, and you blew every single opportunity. You had a silver platter. You had a easy winnable game against Tennessee. And you crapped the bed. You crapped the chute. It is just mind-boggling how Jacksonville did not show up at all. Tennessee was up by double digits in this game. They were up 28-13. I was like, okay, this game keeps going the way it's going. Pittsburgh and Buffalo are going to be thanking you and saying, thank you, Jesus, that we're going to be in the playoffs. And if Jacksonville would have won, Pittsburgh would have been knocked out of the playoffs, and Buffalo would have had to win against Miami on Sunday night, which I will get to here in a little bit. But Jacksonville, you are this year's, the 2023 version of last year's Tennessee Titans. You had a significant lead in the AFC South. You were up on the Texans by several games. You were up on the Colts by several games. If the Colts would have beat the Texans, the Colts would have been the AFC South Division champions. But by virtue of you losing this Jacksonville, not only did you lose to your division rivals, which they loved, they played spoiler, they knocked your asses out of the playoffs, but more importantly, you lost control of the AFC South, and you punched Buffalo and Pittsburgh's tickets into the postseason. And Trevor Lawrence's tone and delivery in the press conference was very low and, so disappointed. You should be disappointed, sir, because your offensive line did not protect you when it mattered the most. Your defense did not make enough plays to win this game for your organization. Because if they win this game, they're in the playoffs. And we're not talking about the Texans hosting a playoff game with C.J. Stroud, a rookie starting quarterback, and DeMeco Ryans as a rookie head coach in the National Football League. Jacksonville, just like Philadelphia, are frauds. They are pretending contenders. One of these things is not like the other. You are not another one. You're just a fake Jacksonville, and I will never surrender that take. You are the pretender, and I will keep you in the dark at the bottom of the basement in the offseason because you deserve to be where you're at. Because the Texans and the Colts, the last 6 weeks, unlike you, Jacksonville, had more of a hell of a run and had a better run of performances than you did. Now get the hell out of my sight. It is just ridiculous how Jacksonville absolutely did not play with the same aggressiveness this past Sunday on the road because they had multiple chances, and they absolutely shit the bed. Shit the damn bed. It is ridiculous. Ridiculous, Jacksonville. You're frauds. Now go away. Go away. Anyways, before I move on to Sunday Night Football, I do want to plug our social media platforms again, ladies and gentlemen. You can follow us on Twitter at @ON_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show, and where we are live on YouTube right now at the special day on Wednesday for our first time doing 2 live weekly shows this week at 5. YouTube.com/Our Nation Sports Show. And don't forget to like this video, share this video with your family and your friends that love the world of sports. And also, before I forget, don't forget to follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner. Everywhere else on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, it is at the Nation's Corner. And be sure to check out the guys and gal this Saturday as they recap the world of professional wrestling. Again, youtube.com/The Nation's Corner. Everywhere else on Instagram, Facebook, it is at The Nation's Corner. And on Twitter, it is at Nation's Corner. And I'm having a great time here with you guys today. And thank you for tuning in today to this special edition of the Sports Show on a Wednesday live at 5, because I could not be on the show last night. And once again, thank you, Joey and to Ezra, for holding down the show last night and doing a great job last night and giving your takes on the world of sports. And I greatly appreciate you guys stepping in and helping me out, because I was hoping to join you guys last night because I was worried about this storm, but unfortunately the storm took out the internet and I was out of the internet for at least 10 plus hours. So obviously I could not be on the show live last night, unfortunately, but you guys did a phenomenal job. And I'm thankful that I have a great crew that can step in and run the show if I can't be around due to internet issues or if I'm going to a concert on a specific show date. But thank you guys for doing a great job last night. And again, folks, we are live here today on a Wednesday on the same day as AEW Dynamite. And Dynamite will be live at 8 o'clock Eastern on TBS. And be interesting to see what happens with that. And thank you, William, for the congratulations. It was a hell of a prediction battle. And what's up, my buddy? K-Rod, Kevin Rory. He is in the chat. And very cool. You're in the chat here, my brother. And Kevin, hope you're doing well, brother. We love you, brother. We can't wait to have you back on the show. Hopefully here soon. And looking forward to the NFL playoffs starting this week. And very cool to have you here in the chat there, Kevin. And I agree with you, Kevin. Once I'm going back and reading the chat here. Once San Francisco ran that defense in the middle, Hurts just could not stop them. It was just crazy. Crazy. And moving on to Sunday Night Football on NBC and on Peacock. The Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins were clashing for the AFC East Division title. And Buffalo Going into this game, if Jacksonville would have won, which they choked, Buffalo would have had to win, and they're in. And fortunately for Buffalo, and fortunately for Pittsburgh, Jacksonville decided to choke the game away and their division title away in the AFC South. So Buffalo and Pittsburgh were both in, and Buffalo and Miami were just playing for the second seed and the AFC East division title. And boy, oh boy, Miami once again had a stranglehold on this game, and they could not get it done. And this is what hurt Miami in this game, was they could not stop one of the phases, and that was the special teams, because Deontay Hardy had a 95-yard touchdown punt return for Buffalo. And just a hell of a performance by Buffalo. Back and forth this game went. Josh Allen made the plays when he needed to, but he also turned the ball over, and that turnover habit was rearing its ugly head, especially with Tagovailoa and Allen in this game, because good Lord, there was multiple picks in this game. But so Josh Allen had a great bounce back performance for the most part in this game. And Buffalo won the AFC East Division title. They won against Miami 21-14. And Miami is now the 6th seed. And Buffalo is the 2nd seed. And again, folks, for those that don't know, on the sports show, we do a prediction battle during the NFL regular season. And it was a hell of a battle this year with myself, Ezra, Joey, and Kevin on the show. And it was a very close prediction battle. And by virtue of the tiebreaker, I did end up winning. But Joey had a good lead on me leading into week 17, and I bounced back. I made a great comeback, and in the prediction battle, and it came down to that Seattle and Arizona game, and made the best person win. And it was just a fun prediction battle, just for fun. And we love doing this prediction battle all season long, and we can't wait to do it again next year. And so, my brothers, I appreciate you guys, and we did this together. We had a lot of fun. And this is all for us, and we all have a great time when we do this prediction battle, and we rock. We rock! And cannot wait for all of us to do this together again next year with the prediction battle for the year of 2024 regular season. Who knows? Maybe the sports show will have its own prediction battles trophy. That will be a lot of fun. So, that will be a lot of fun if that can happen. We'll contribute to that, and hopefully that can get done before the season starts next year. And before I move on to the playoffs, that's right, the playoffs. We're talking about the playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I don't think the Eagles are going to win a game. But anyways, before I move on to the playoffs, again, you can follow us on Twitter at Owen_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show, and where I am live right now at the start time of 5. Live at 5 on YouTube.com/Nation Sports Show. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and share this broadcast and all of our other previous broadcasts with your family and your friends that love the world of sports. And with that being said, let's get down to what we're all looking forward to, and that is the start of the NFL playoffs starting this Saturday. And my goodness gracious, I know the wild card round usually on paper does not have a lot of great matchups, but geez, I mean, this year, as chaotic as this season has been, that whole narrative has been completely changed upside down, because the wild card round looks absolutely stacked. And before I get to the wild card games and give my predictions, as well as Kevin predictions, who is here in the chat tonight, the brackets in the NFC are San Francisco at number 1. Number 2, you got the Cowboys. Number 3, you have Detroit. Number 4, you have Tampa Bay. At the 5th spot, you got the fraud Philadelphia Eagles. The 6th spot, you got the Los Angeles Rams. And 7, just sneaking into the playoffs by the skin of their teeth, you got the Green Bay Packers. In the AFC side, you got Baltimore at the top of the AFC conference. Number 2, Number 2, you have the Buffalo Bills, as they now are the AFC East Division champions. At number 3, you have the AFC West Division champions, again, the Kansas City Chiefs. At number 4, you have the, here early on scheduling a lot of our opinions, the Houston Texans, who ended up winning the AFC South Division title. And the 5th seed is the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco, the old man who would have fought, he led the Browns to the playoffs after they beat the Jets on Thursday Night Football a couple weeks ago. Number 6 in the AFC side is now the Dolphins after losing to the Bills on Sunday night. And number 7 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it is going to be a very interesting playoff bracket going forward for the year of 2023 into the 24 postseason, and looking forward to the start of the playoffs. Now, last night, Joey, Ezra, and William in the chat gave their predictions. Well, tonight, I'm going to give my predictions, and I'm going to rattle off Kevin's predictions that I have right here in front of me. And up first on the schedule, you have, at the 4:30 mark, you have a AFC wildcard game. You have the Houston Texans hosting the Cleveland Browns. And look, again, like I said at the top of the hour with the Texans, C.J. Stroud has had a great run with Houston, leading this team to a division title. And D'Amico Ryans deserves all the credit in the world for getting these boys ready for this moment, because I think he was born ready to be a coach, and he was prepared to be a head coach in the National Football League. And when you look at what Houston had to do to get to where they're at right now, they accomplished that. And Cleveland, my goodness. Watson getting paid that massive, stupid contract, not performing at a high level. And I don't wish injuries on people, but I hate to say it, but maybe William, you'll agree with me. I hate to say it, but maybe the injury to Watson was kind of a good thing that happened in the long run, because it would not lead to the old man, Joe Flacco, leading Cleveland to the playoffs. And it's just remarkable what they're doing. And that's a good point, William. The Browns have won 11 games and still had multiple injuries. And I agree with you too, Kevin, that the Dolphins are completely depleted. They've had multiple injuries. Tyreek Hill has had weeks, with significant injuries, and Jalen Waddle's been out, and Raheem Mostert's been out with injuries. That's 3 of your offensive players who have been out, at times during the game and out for games, and their defense has been beaten up too. So Miami going forward, I don't know, man. It's very tough. But back to the game at hand. So this game could go either way. I think that it's really tough. I just think that, don't get me wrong, I love C.J. Stroud. I love the kid. He's a hell of a player. He will be the Rookie of the Year. If he's not, we riot on this show. We riot. We'll go crazy. We'll lose our minds. I think C.J. Stroud, I think he'll have a great game, but I'm going to go with Cleveland. I'm going to go with Cleveland to beat the Texans in a close game. I'm going to go with Cleveland 28-23. Now, Kevin is picking the Browns as well. Kevin is picking the Browns in overtime, 30-27 in overtime, and that's a hell of a score, and that very well could happen. And obviously, William, you picked the Browns last night to beat the Texans, and Ezra and Joey both picked the Texans to win. And could Houston win? Sure, anybody can win because in the playoffs, because as we all know, the playoff brackets, the season basically resets. The real season begins. And moving on to frigid Kansas City, Arrowhead Stadium. it's gonna be cold as ice. It's gonna be so freaking cold. I hope that the fans in that stadium freezing their asses off won't get trapped under ice because it's gonna be so freaking cold. I mean, 0 degrees. Are you kidding me? There ain't no way I'm paying to go to that game. I'm sorry, even if you offered me a free ticket. Hell no. I'm staying my ass in the house and watching this game from the inside. And it's going to be so cold. But anyways, in frigid Kansas City, you got the Chiefs hosting the Dolphins. And look, as we all know, Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City have not been the team this year that they were last season. And Travis Kelce did not have a great season. Statistically and weekly, he did not have a great season. And it was a swift curse. Ooh, see what I did there. Anyways, so with that being said, this game could go either way because, I mean, Miami, listen, if they had all of their players healthy, I'm picking Miami outright on the road. Because if you got Tua healthy, you got Hill healthy, you got Jalen Waddle healthy, you got Raheem Mostert healthy, you got the defense healthy, Miami's winning this game. But, with that being said, and I know that the Chiefs are not the team they were the last 6 seasons. The offense is very up and down. They've literally dropped the ball so many times in critical situations. So with that being said, I am going to go with the Chiefs in a close one. I'm going to go with the Chiefs 24-20. And Kevin is picking the Chiefs as well, 23-21. That's a very interesting score there, pal. And so this game could go either way. And I think the reason why I think the Chiefs are going to win this game is because, I mean, it's in the element. It's in the frozen elements. And the Chiefs do have experience winning in the cold. But the Dolphins, they don't. Because Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert, and that offense, they play in sunny Florida. And I think that they are going to succumb to the cold, frigid nature of Kansas City. Moving on to Sunday. It is a triple header. Up first, you got the red-hot Buffalo Bills as they take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to start with Kevin's score. Kevin is picking the Bills to win this game 28-14. That's a very interesting score. And I think this game could get interesting at times. I think it's going to be close going throughout the entire game at first, but I do think that Buffalo with Allen and that offense, and I think the defense may make a couple of plays, or maybe the special teams will make a couple of plays. So with that being said, I am going to go with the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to have them. I got them pulling away 27-17. Moving on. Arlington, Texas. The Dallas Cowboys are hosting the Green Bay Packers. Mike McCarthy is going to face his old team in Green Bay. And Dallas, I hate to remind you, but your poor team has not made it. Dallas fans, I'm sorry, but your poor team has not made it to the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl in now 28 years. It's been that long since you rocked and rolled. It's also been that long since you won a championship. And I agree with you, William, going back to the Browns and Texans game. The injury to Watson was a godsend. I agree with that 110%. That's true, William, that the Chiefs got a swift kick in the butt. That's hilarious. A swift kick in the butt. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Um, so yeah, anyway, so moving on to this game. I think that Dallas, because they're at home, because they play a hell of a lot better than they do on the road, I do think that Dallas will end up winning this game. I think Dallas will beat Green Bay in a kind of a close game. I got Dallas winning by a touchdown. I'm going to go Dallas. I'm going to go 27-20. I think Jordan Love is going to have a good game. I think it's going to throw for at least 250 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and maybe a game sealing interception that will end the Green Bay season. And Kevin also is going with the Cowboys by a touchdown as well. He's picking the Cowboys 30-23. And we shall see what happens in Texas for this game with the Cowboys and the Packers as Mike McCarthy makes will make his return to face Green Bay. But obviously he's hosting this game because he's the coach of the Cowboys. So anyways, let's keep the reunions coming along, shall we? And we'll go to the next game, and that is Detroit. They take on the Rams as Matthew Stafford makes his return to Detroit Rock City. Oh, yeah. So Matthew Stafford and the Rams are going to go to Detroit to face Jared Goff and the Lions, And Jared Goff will also face his former team, the Rams. And before I forget to mention, Tyreek Hill is facing his former team, the Chiefs, with Miami as well. So it's pretty fun how there's matchups that involve former players against their former teams. So it's really cool, how this all worked out. So I think that going into this game, look, Detroit has proven that they are one of the best NFL teams this season. They were, for the most part, they were consistent. They had a rough patch at times in this season, but for the most part, Detroit was playing some damn good football. Damn good football. Led by Jared Goff and led by this great Detroit offense and Williams at receiver and Brown at receiver, and obviously before he got injured, Laporta at tight end. This Lions team is nothing to mess with. And I think Detroit, I think that they are going to make a pretty good run. I think that, the Rams, to me, the Rams are the one team that is the most surprised team that is in this playoffs. For the simple fact that, as we all know, a year ago, that Matthew Stafford and the Rams did not make the playoffs, and they finished with the worst record as a defending Super Bowl champion, failing to make the playoffs at under 500. And give Stafford and Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and company credit, and Williams, for making this run. Because the defense with no Aaron Donald, they made some plays. They went on a nice run this season, and got to give Stafford, Puka Nacua, and Cooper Kupp in the offense and the defense credit. And McVay, being the coach that he is, from leading this team after having a disappointed season last year. And the Rams had a really good run, this season, and they have nothing to lose. I think, could they win this game? Maybe. Who the hell knows? But that's why they play the games on the field. And that's why I'm going to start with Kevin's score. Kevin is picking Detroit in a close one. Listen to this score, folks. He's got the Lions beating the Rams 31-28. Love that score, brother. And I'm going to follow suit as well. I'm going to go with Detroit to edge out the Rams in a close one. I am going to go with the Lions. I'm going to go 30-24. Close game. I love this game. I think it's going to be a good game. And wrapping up the Super Wildcard weekend on Monday night, you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the frauds in the NFC, the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, listen. Oh, yeah. Well, telling y'all about this game. Oh, yeah. No backing track. This is all real. This is all live and in color, my brothers and my sisters out there. Yeah. Moving on to this game. Listen, I know that Philadelphia is not the team that they were last year. And Tampa, they got some solid weapons. You know, Baker Mayfield deserves a lot of credit. Mike Evans deserves a lot of credit. Chris Godwin and company and the defense, you know, made the plays when they needed to make them. And Tampa won the division despite them being in a very crappy NFC South division. But however, Philadelphia is where they are at because they did it to themselves. Their defense is depleted. Their offense is depleted. They are destroyed. So with that being said, I mean, I'm having a hard time with this game. So I'm going to start out with Kevin's score. Kevin is picking Tampa Bay to beat Philadelphia 22-14. That's a very interesting score. And I don't feel good about it because they are depleted. They're broken. But I'm gonna choose Philadelphia to squeak it out barely. I'm gonna go Philadelphia. I'm gonna go against the grain with this playoffs picks. I don't feel good about it, but like Joey said last night, like Ezra said, like all you guys have said on this show, would not be surprised if Philadelphia is bounced out in round one. I don't feel good about them losing in this game or winning in this game, excuse me, because they're frauds. But if this was against a team like Detroit, a team like Dallas, or even San Francisco, I'm outright picking against Philadelphia. The only reason why I'm picking Philadelphia is because I don't trust the NFC South. I don't trust the Bucs because as good as they've been most of the time, there were times during the season that they had hiccups and they went on a losing streak as well. So Tampa is fortunate as well to be where they're at right now. So with that being said, I'm going to go with Philadelphia to barely squeak it out. I'm going to go Philadelphia. I'm going to go 23-20 on a game-winning Jake Elliott field goal. So with that being said, folks, that is our predictions for the wild card round. So thank you, Kevin, for sending me in your scores, brother. And we look forward to having you back on the show here soon, hopefully next week, to recap Super Wild Card Weekend and preview the divisional round. And it's been a lot of fun here tonight, being here on a special live edition on Wednesday at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Doing the sports show here since I could not be here with you guys last night helping out with Ezra and Joey hosting the show. And Ezra and Joey, like I said, you guys did a great job last night. And William is great as always. You've been excellent here in the chat as well. And Kevin, thank you for joining us here in the chat. And it's been a lot of fun and here today. And Ezra and Joey did a great job last night. And this has been a lot of fun. I couldn't think of a better time to do 2 consecutive shows in 1 week than this time because the NFL playoffs are here, baby. And this wild card round is looking damn good. It's looking really good. It's looking very interesting. Anything can happen in the playoffs because the playoff or the fields have reset. Everybody is back at square one. Nothing. All that matters now is who wins and who moves on. And who loses is eliminated. Elimination. That's an Overkill reference for you guys out there, for those that don't know that. Overkill. Yeah, it's a metal reference for all you metalheads. And if you got it, thank you. God bless you. Anyways, so with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, once again, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at ON_Sports Show. Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show. And where we are live right now, youtube.com/Our Nation Sports Show. And this has been a lot of fun doing the show on a Wednesday before AEW Dynamite goes live tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. And again, and don't forget to follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner. Everywhere else on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, it is at the Nation's Corner. And don't forget to check out the show this Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific time, as the guys and gal recap the week in professional wrestling, as we now are so close to the Royal Rumble. In a couple of weeks, the Royal Rumble will be happening in Florida, and Cody Rhodes and CM Punk are in the Rumble, and there will be a fatal four-way for the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship between Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and LA Knight. Yeah, let me talk to you. And I've been talking to you guys for the past hour plus. It's been a lot of fun. And like I said, don't forget to check out the show this Saturday, as we are now on the road to WrestleMania. And looking forward to the playoffs starting this Saturday. Man, it's a great time to be alive. It's a great time to be a sports fan. And again, like I said at the top of the hour, to everybody here on the South, in the South, up north, on the East Coast, the Midwest, that have been affected by this storm that hit yesterday. The damage from the tornadoes, the winds, the rain with the flooding, and things that got damaged. Hopefully that nothing was too damaged. If houses, if there was damages at people's houses, hopefully not, there wasn't a lot of damage done at people's houses. I know there were some homes destroyed, but hopefully if there were for the homes that were destroyed, I hope you guys are able to find, a new place to live, because homes can be, a home can be, replaced, but people can't. Lives cannot. So from all of us here, on behalf of the sports show, from all of us here on the sports show, I would like to send my deep condolences to the people that were affected by this storm yesterday, because it was rough here on the South and the North part of the East Coast and the Midwest and Missouri and Chicago and Indiana and everywhere in between that was affected by this storm. And hopefully you guys are staying safe out there in this nasty weather that we had, and some areas are still experiencing the nasty, weather. There's snow in Missouri, there's snow in Chicago, and Indiana and stuff like that. And there was damaging winds yesterday here in the Carolinas, and it was bad. But thankfully, we made it out. We survived. And again, thank you to Ezra and to Joey yesterday for doing a damn good job here on the show. This has been a lot of fun. And looking forward to coming back on here with you guys next Tuesday on our regular schedule day of Tuesday, as we break down the world of sports. So I think this is going to do it for tonight. It's been a lot of fun. I've had a blast talking about the world of sports with you guys here in the chat. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. Thank you, William, for being here in the chat. And to everybody out there that will watch this on demand, thank you as well. You guys are awesome. And looking forward to next week as we break down all of the happenings from Super Wildcard weekend in the National Football League, and any of the latest news updates that we got going on in the NFL and the NBA and all of that stuff. We will bring that to you next week. And with that being said, I think this will put a very nice bow on top of an excellent edition of the sports show. And with that being said, I have been your host for this evening here on this first sports show of a back-to-back and a belly-to-belly, baby, here live at 5. This has been another great edition of Our Nation Sports Show, and be sure to check out myself, Ezra, Joey, and hopefully we'll be having Kevin on next week, as we'll have a 4-man gang attack on the show, as the gang will be here next week, recapping all of the happenings in the National Football League, as who will be the first to advance in the NFL playoffs to the divisional round, and who will be the first of the teams to be eliminated. So with that being said, thank you, William. Thank you, Kevin. Everybody here in the chat tonight for being here live at 5 for the first sports show on a Wednesday and a back-to-back week with 2 shows in one full week. I have been your host for this evening, Stephen Wyand. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week. Stay safe out there. And enjoy the playoff. Yes, the NFL playoffs. Talking about the playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? Again, I don't know if Philadelphia can win a game. And with that being said, top guys on this show and yours truly had a great week this week. Take care, everybody. Peace.